Hi, I'm Lisa Levy from GenderWorks. Welcome to our video series on mindset shifts for men that we see they experience on their journey to becoming male allies. This is our fourth in the series, and the ones we've gone through so far are, the first was looking at individual experiences that women have of gender inequities to a systemic pattern of gender inequities across an organization, department, whatever. The second shift is really looking at gender as a women's issue, which it's often regarded, to gender as a universal issue. And the third was looking at a shift from a more passive approach to supporting gender equality in the workplace to a more active approach. Today we're going to be talking about a shift from seeing behaviors as sufficient for moving to gender parity to changing behaviors and changing structures and systems. A great example is if you think about job structures in most workplaces. They still reflect a very masculine, primary breadwinner mode. If you think about, most jobs, professional jobs especially, are very long hours. Working part-time still feels very marginalized by a lot of people, and that you're not a real contender somehow. We don't have paid parental leave. We don't, health insurance is tied to a job. So there's many things structurally about the way we continue to work that don't reflect the fact that there's many dual career couples, single parents, etc. But especially for dual career couples, both in the workplace as well as outside the workplace, these structures tend to reinforce that gendered approach we've had. I also wanted to just share a story about a simple change in structure or system that shows you how it can help. So in this one company, in their department meetings, typically the men would sit on the one side of the table and the women on the other. The men were in more senior positions to the women, and they would go around and everybody would share, what they were working on, and inevitably it would start, time would pass, and the women were always rushed, and at the end, they're kind of whipping through what they had to say. Well, a simple way to change that up is change where people sit, but even if you kept it, if people just sat in that normal or typical structure for them, that you would alternate between, somebody on one side of the table and then the other, and then go back and forth. So that would change it up. Or you could also change it up by starting on the side where the women sit instead of the side where the men sit. There's lots of ways to solve it, but you can see a structural change would help to mitigate that issue. So to recap, here we're really talking about a mindset shift that, changing behavior is sufficient. Now, changing behavior is critical and is an important part of the process, but a realization that in addition to behavior, systems and structures and practices need to change. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the next in our series.